Hello and welcome to another edition of the Dynasty 2, the Colbys Aftershow. I'm James Lott Jr. This time we're talking about Miles Colby. Yes, Miles, played by Maxwell Caufield. Like I said in the title of this show episode, he is the quintessential prototype of the 80s playboy, young, rich guy who is sensitive, who could live up to his father's expectations, was his mother's favorite, got the wrong girls, the whole thing. I think he just, to me, even from a lot of these shows in the 80s, he is one of the quintessential archetypes. Twin brother of Monica. Like I said, Sable's favorite. He was a weakling apparently as a kid, and was very sensitive. That was the backstory. He was a polo player. He was savvy. He was smiley, good-looking, dresser, tall, everything, but sensitive. And to me, because there was two girls, so it was Monica and then the younger daughter. It was just funny that he didn't fall into the Colby ruthlessness and the company and all that stuff that his father and them were doing. And so for me, he felt like somebody who his storylines felt very true to like what possibly could be going on with rich young men like him in the 80s. Or as they say, rich white young men like him in the 80s, where privilege and wealth, his character showed that wasn't enough. He wanted love. He thought he found it with Fallon or Randall Adams. And Charlie Fallon and Jeff, his cousin, now half sibling. That was the love of his life. And eventually he got there. But for the most part, he raped her. He went off the deep end. He had a lot of problems, arrested for murder, but he was exonerated. Like, he was this troubled young man who, if you look at him and on paper, you would think, doesn't he have it all? I mean, his look was so 80s. It was so mid 80s. With the blonde hair and the tuxes and the no-show socks and shoes and the pocket squares, all this stuff. He was so 80s. And I just thought, for this show, he was a great character for the show. He really was defined. He stood out. And this Maxwell Caufield played him so well. Maxwell Caufield was in other things, of course, in the 80s. But this is the thing that got him a lot of fame. Of course, also his real life marriage, Juliet Mills, the nanny of the nanny professor, who was years older than him. And that got a lot of attention, which I thought they were always cute. They're sweet together. And if you're in line, this stuff, to my knowledge, it was a whole, they were together a long time. But on screen, he was good. I liked his acting. And you felt sorry for him at times, and you didn't feel sorry for him at times. You hated him at times. But just if I think of what I think a rich, young, white Los Angelian with lots of money would have, what kind of life they would have behind the scenes, Miles and his storylines, to me, were close to that, or what I could think of as a possibility of what that could be. Because you think you'd have any girl you want, and nope, he wanted a certain girl, he fell for her, he wanted a certain life, and he couldn't seem to grab it. It was at his fingertips, but he couldn't seem to grab it. So I think it's just of all the soap 80s prime time young men, rich young men, I'd say probably maybe Lance on Fountain Crest was another one of those heartthrobby playboy types of a family, but he was into the business, so it was a little different over there. I just think I think Miles was a great representation of that. So that's my take on that. So my phone is going off all of a sudden stuff. So Miles Colby, folks, tell me what you think of Always. Tell me what you think and how you feel about this. And I appreciate you guys really do. The fan engagement is wonderful. So I'm hoping that you are, well, it shows you are. Hopefully you are watching the episode or listening to it and then commenting, because I want you to hear my point of view. Sometimes I'll put it in a title. It sounds like it's a question. And I've seen a couple people respond. I'm like, I actually said that in the show. It wasn't like I was asking you guys to tell me what I already said in the show. But there are those of you who do listen and watch and share things with me that I never heard before. And I love that you share stuff with me. And I love that. Love it, love it, love it. If you have any stories or anything, share them with me. Tell me if you feel the same way, don't feel the same way. You can disagree, agree. I love all comments. I do, and the engagement. I want to thank all of the Colbys and Dynasty Facebook groups. Let me post this on there. You guys really do give me the engagement. You watch the show and you tell me how you feel. I want to hear. I want to hear all of it. If you know something that I don't know, please share it with me, because there's things I don't know everything. All the Colbys fans around the world, sometimes you give me the greatest perspectives on stuff that I've never heard of. Well, like, this is great. So please continue to do that. I love the engagement. I love the community. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.